What's poppin', world? Back at it again with another video for y'all. Y'all tapped there with the Head of the Game podcast. Without further ado, let's get right into it. As y'all can see, the title, which is The American Dream versus the American Reality. It's time to wake up, y'all. At least for some people that are in certain situations, right? Me included as well. So this is a wake up call for me as well, right? So as you can see, inflation, home prices across the board, just the economy as a whole, is just not in a very good place. And I feel like we're just going into a transition. You know, it started from the pandemic, I feel like, into a new eon, a new type of, way of living. I just feel like a society and humanity, we're probably going to see things of the lights of that probably only happens once every 1,000 years. You feel me? Just my opinion on that, right? For one, I do feel like population control is being implemented. You feel me? Due to the fact that there's AI, life expectancy is probably at an all-time high. People are having less kids. So if the inflation or the ratio of amount of people are more populated more than ever, then that would mean that there's less jobs, less opportunities, more competitiveness, because there's a lot more people that typically would be on this earth, in comparison to, the years before or whatever, right? Well, at least in comparison to this country. So, with that being said, excuse me. As far as keeping your job, it's a catch 22 because you would sit up there and think like, okay, why go to a job that I hate? Now I ain't talking about me, you feel me? Definitely not talking about me, but I'm just talking in general as far as like going to a place where you would look at your situation and you would ask yourself like, does my mental health, does my physical health has to be compromised due to the fact of me trying to upkeep a certain livelihood. And you gotta, sometimes it comes down to just picking one or the other, right? Just forget society, go off grid, and is that some form of freedom? Or is it keeping your head down, coming in with a plan, being intentional, and possibly transitioning to the other side? Now, me personally, how I'm handling this situation is that, I'll give y'all a little summarized background of just where I've been, where I'm at, where I'm trying to head to. So, back in 2021 in fall, after being on unemployment from the pandemic, I had gotten into Amazon. Now, I worked Amazon for about a year and a half, and then I went over to FedEx. FedEx, I've been here for about 3 years. I just got my CDL about 2-3 weeks ago. Now I'm looking into getting into truck driving as my new journey, and who knows what may come after that. I may like it, I may not like it, whatever the case may be. I've never been a person that actually goes into a job and be like, oh, I love my job. It's just I do what I got to do to get to where I got to go, and I ain't gotta like it along the way. It's just that's just the way my mental is made up. But with that being said, is if you're going in with a strategy with causing certain sacrificing that you might have to put aside, you know drinking, smoking, chasing women, uh, chasing materialism, uh, and a minimalist lifestyle may not be entirely for everyone. So I'm not saying you have to go be a minimalist, but you have to be realistic about the real means you have to live by, and not trying to live an overinflated lifestyle or whatever, right? So with that being said, I mean, there's still I guess the beauty, and I would say beauty being subjective about, just this capitalistic society, is the fake it till you make it concept still works even today, right? So if you're a person that's into materialism and trying to make it seem like you're living larger than life and things of that sort, but you're really not if you're monetizing that, right? And I would feel like the rap game is pretty much a microcosm of this, right? So if you rapping about how many cars you got, how much money you got, the jewelry on your neck, and so on and so forth, but everything is financed and really you're in debt, trying to make it seem like you're ahead of your competition, then it sells. It sells itself, right? Lifestyle sells itself. So if you're one of the people that know how to, be entertaining and create yourself into a product that the masses will like to, indulge in, have at it. But for the most part, in generality, most people have to sit up there. They got to do what they got to do, paycheck to paycheck, climbing out of debt, getting help, learning how to be self-efficient and not dependent on others. All these things are very, very, very important for sure, right? So, well, so the big question is, what you gonna do? Because the American dream is a dream I feel like some, if not most, are waking up to and realizing that the game is rigged, right? Being a taxpayer is rigged. Being a good Samaritan is rigged. Being a by-the-book, everyday citizen that just earns an honest wage, the game is rigged, because in capitalism, it's right in front of our faces. What's the key word to capitalism? Capitalize. Meaning that if you're not capitalizing on someone, somebody's capitalizing on you, right? And there are spaces where two things could be true. You could be doing the capitalizing as well as being capitalized, and it's just pretty much the transfer of money, right? As depending on where you're at on the food chain. So, with that being said, it's like, if you're waking up to the American reality that, hey, the game is rigged, debt is a double-edged sword, because if you're educated enough, if you're financially literate, you can weaponize debt to be able to have a ecosystem that produces an abundance of finance and success and wealth. But if you're financially illiterate, then that could be your worst enemy, because then it's gonna put you in a space where people are constantly capitalizing you due to, just debt coming along with interest and things of that sort, and you just played your hand bad, right? So ultimately, we all have to ask ourselves, because not every situation is the same, is that what is our ratio? What is our financial ecosystem? What are the things that we need to be inclined to far as budgeting? And that's pretty much what a budget is. It's a financial ecosystem. And are you having more due to your income? Are you having a better outcome? Because if not, then your ecosystem or your budget is broken, and you're being subjected to, what people would benefit off of people like you, right? Which is impulsive spending and frivolous debt, and not being the person that you need to be. I just say all that to say is that we gotta wake up and realize that the game is rigged, right? Now, it's a good thing and a bad thing, depending on your mindset, your perspective. If you're a person that's like, okay, well, instead of being a pawn in the game or being even a chess piece on the board, why not become one of the people that's actually moving the chess pieces instead of being one of the chess pieces on the board, either attacking or off the defensive or offensive, right? So, all in all, we have to realize that success is subjective. Some people want to work all their life. Some people want to be successful and stop working at a certain point. Some people want a career. Some people want a job. Some people want kids. Some people want a house. Some people want to rent. Some people want to have a car note of the newest car. Some people want to get a bucket from the auction and have no car note. Some people want jewelry. So it's every, for every part of the extreme of the spectrum, there's both extremes, and then there's somewhere in the middle where the majority lies. Where everybody wants a little bit of something that everybody else wants, but typically it just depends on what kind of person you are. So, as people wake up to this new reality that, hey, AI is taking over, the job market sucks, the rates are about to get cut, and each time there's a collapse on the economy, big bank is always going to take a little bank. So I'm just going to tell you the cycle of why people just keep hoping for a housing crash or a stock market crash, right? Because the system is built on, I wouldn't say technically it's an oligarchy. It's not a democracy. If you looked at the bills that got passed right away in comparison to the people, most of the businesses got those PPP loans, billions and millions of dollars. And yeah, we got a bill passed for us, but if you compare to what the corporations got in comparison to what we got, you can obviously see who the government is going to ultimately prioritize, which is the few and not the many. So once you realize that, then you just have to realize, like, hey, all right, well, what am I going to do about it? So with that being said, comment, like, subscribe, more videos in the way. I'm out of here.